Despite all of the legal troubles, there's that new CBS poll, and it shows Donald Trump and Joe Biden in a statistical tie. How do you interpret those numbers, and how should the White House interpret them?
I mean, the White House and colleagues of mine that I still stay in touch with, they are not surprised that the race is very close. They expect it to be very close to the end. That is why they're so focused on kind of engaging the groups of people across the country that need to know what the stakes are. So they're not surprised by it. It may surprise Democrats in the country who think, wait a second, this guy's been indicted multiple times, 91 counts. How can this be the case? Well, we live in a divided country, and everybody should anticipate this is going to be a close election till the very end.
But, Jen, what can the White House do? Because, look, you know, they cite all the policy accomplishments. You've done your share of doing that. But it appears it is not getting to the public. Is it a messaging problem? Is it a policies issue? What do you think the problem is?
Well, I think part of it is that the election and the choice is not crystal for people quite yet. Remember, we are still quite far away from the November election. It may not feel that way to us. We consume this every day. But for most people, the choice and the stakes is not crystal yet. We're in the phase of it. Someone I know said to me yesterday, it's kind of the wishing stage where people are looking for some sort of magical unicorn candidate option here. President Biden is running for re-election. He's going to be the nominee unless something crazy happens. He's got a lot to run on, and he's going to draw the contrast. The contrast, though, is what a lot of people are going to vote on, and they haven't. That's not crystal for people quite yet, and I think it will be closer to next year and closer to the election.
So I'm wondering if this could help, because New York Times columnist Maureen Dowd writes about perceptions of Biden's age, and she says his staff has exacerbated the problem by trying too hard to keep him in check. Americans know who Uncle Joe is, quirks and all, slower and all. Let them decide. I mean, her point is, let him answer questions freely. Let him meet reporters freely, because it energizes him. So I'm not asking you to offend any of your friends at the White House, but do you agree?
Well, you know, I sometimes think this particular question is a funny debate, only because, at least when I was there, he took questions from reporters multiple times a week. Now, what he didn't do as often as the White House press corps wanted and requested, and certainly it is their priority to ask for, are formal press conferences. I don't know that the American people makes decisions based on how many formal press conferences presidents have. I don't think they do. What I think people will see, and I expect they will see, is him more out on the campaign trail, making kind of the bold contrast that they've seen. That's what people have a hunger and an appetite for, and hopefully that will help. But, you know, Alex, you've seen these polls too. I mean, somehow Donald Trump is 3 years younger than Joe Biden, and somehow a larger percentage of people think Joe Biden's age is a problem than think Donald Trump's age is a problem. The White House knows that's a problem, but that's a little curious as well.